Hi, fourth graders. It's Miss Cross here today for science, and I am trying a new way of recording today where hopefully you can see me talking and what I am working on. So today we are going to work on a literacy task to kind of wrap up our work that we've been doing on food chains and food webs. So what you're going to need today is this article, which is called Backyard Food Chains, and if you can print it out, that would be wonderful. So you can actually have the text with you because we're going to number our sections and do a little work with that. Now, if you cannot print it out, you should be able to access it on your computer, and that is fine as well. The other thing you're going to need is your science journal, and I have gone ahead and written the title of the article, which is Backyard Food Chains, and I've put today's date. Okay, so this is what we're going to do before I get started with the article. You are going to think today about a food chain that could be in your backyard right now, okay? And if you think, I don't have a food chain in my backyard, or I don't have a backyard, think about a park nearby, okay? Somewhere near you, your yard or a park, there are food chains, even if you don't realize it, okay? So we're going to read this text. Actually, I'm going to read the first two sections with you, and I'm going to model taking notes. Then you're going to read the rest of the article on your own and take notes in your journal, which I'm going to show you how to do in just a second. Now, when you finish, you are going to draw a model of one of the food chains that is mentioned in this article, or a food chain based on elements that are mentioned in this article. So you need to make sure you're reading really carefully and the notes you're taking are very accurate, okay? And we especially want to spell things correctly when we're copying them right from a text. So I'm going to take my text and I'm going to number the sections before I start reading. So I'm going to number this one number 1, this one number 2, and you will see that there are some pictures in this text. That's section 3, energy for everyone. The sun collectors is going to be section 4. Backyard plant eaters is section 5. Hunters in the backyard is section 6. And even though there's a lot of sections, they're not too long. The soil is alive is section 7. Oops. And then lastly we have... Oh, that is the last one. You have a glossary at the end, okay? So there's a few words here that if you're unsure when you're reading and you find a word you're not sure about, check the glossary because it could be there. Okay, the only other thing I will say before I start modeling it is that the picture goes with the section ahead of it, okay? So the pictures are kind of at the end of a section. So this picture goes with what's over here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to label my paper to go with the section that I'm reading. And I'm only going to label the first section because I don't know how many notes I'm going to take. So I want to be sure I have enough room for what I'm going to write. So I'm going to write a number 1 right here. Okay, so I am going to read the first section to you and I'm going to show you the way I would take notes on it. Now I'm thinking about my backyard. I'm thinking about food chains. I'm thinking about organisms, producers, consumers, decomposers, where the energy is coming from at each section of this food chain and where the energy comes from to get all of this started, okay? So I'm going to read now. Backyard food chains. Section 1 is called Where Are Food Chains? All plants and animals need energy to survive. Also, if you have the paper, you can highlight and annotate and underline as much as you want. Plants such as strawberries get their energy from the sun. Oh, that sounds like part of a potential food chain. So I'm just going to underline that. When a strawberry is eaten by an animal such as a slug is like a snail without its shell. If you've ever seen one of those, they're kind of big and gooey looking. So a slug might eat a strawberry. When that happens, some of the energy from the strawberry is passed to the slug. So a strawberry is going to get eaten by an animal such as a slug, and that makes the energy pass. Remember, that's very important for food chains, is how the energy is moving from organism to organism. If the slug is eaten by a bird, energy is passed on again. A house cat might catch and eat the bird. A house cat's just a pet cat. And energy is passed once more. The strawberries, the slug, the bird, and the cat are each a link in the food chain. Food chains show how plants and animals are connected by what they eat. That is really important. That's exactly what a food chain is. How plants and animals are connected by what they eat. They also show how plants and animals are connected by who eats them, because I might be eating something, but something else could be eating me. Okay, so I've got a lot of good thinking already from this first paragraph about some potential food chains that could be in my yard. So I'm going to go ahead and read section 2, and then I'm going to do my notes because I want to see what I underline in section 2. So section 2 is called A Nice Place to Live. Almost everywhere you look, you can see plants and animals busy with their lives. Every creature needs a special place to live. That sounds important, and that's true. Every creature needs a place to live. There it can find food, shelter, water, and anything else it needs to make itself feel at home. This special place is called a habitat. Backyards can be part of people's habitats. People might grow food and flowers in backyards. I have tomatoes and peppers growing in my backyard right now. So other of you might have gardens growing and flowers as well. They might also use their backyard as a place to play, relax, and sometimes even cook, maybe on your grill. A backyard isn't just a good place for people, however. A backyard is a habitat for hundreds of other creatures too. Excuse me, guys. So, I'm learning that my backyard might be a fun place for me to grill and grow things, but it's also a habitat for other creatures. Now, I'm just going to turn the page and look at this picture because remember I said the pictures go with this section before. So it's kind of hard to see this. You'll see it better on your screen where it's nice and pretty color. This is a frog with a worm hanging out of his mouth. And the caption says, many animals, such as this toad, come to the backyard because they can find good things to eat there. So this frog eating a worm is an example of organisms eating other organisms that I might find and you might find in our backyards. Okay, so that's as much as I'm going to read, but I do want to model taking notes a little bit for you. So in chapter 1, section 1, I'm going to list the things that were mentioned because I might want to use those later when I do my model of my food chain. So we had the sun, we had strawberries, and remember, if we're copying from a text, we should be spelling things correctly. Now, hopefully I don't make a mistake after saying that. We had a slug. We have a bird. We have a cat, a house cat. And I'm going to write another word over here that seems important. And that's energy, because that text kept talking about how energy is passed between these organisms. So the other thing I see here that looks really important is it tells me that a food chain is how plants and animals are connected. Now remember, it told us that they're how plants and animals are connected both by what they eat and who eats them. Okay? So this is like the key details I pulled out of that text, and this is a really important skill that you're going to use also in reading. So this is really great practicing as we take notes. So now I'm going to do a 2 for section 2. Now in this one, it told me that every creature needs a special place to live, and it called that a habitat. So I know that that's a place to live, and that's where creatures get their food, their shelter, and their water. They also might get their air as well, and perhaps their sunlight. Okay, it also told me that backyards can be a habitat for hundreds of creatures. And remember, when you're taking notes, it can be short. It doesn't have to be full sentences. It's just jotting down, okay? So I look back at what I've underlined, and I've written most of that down here. So in this section, I learned or was reminded that habitats are places to live where creatures can get their food, their shelter, and their water. And I learned that backyards can be a habitat for hundreds of creatures. Okay, friends, so now you have, I think, 5 more short sections to read on your own. So as you read, you can underline and highlight if you have it on paper. Be sure you're taking your notes here, because when you finish, you're going to use your notes and you're going to draw a model of a food chain that could be found in your backyard. Now, I probably shouldn't see, and your teacher probably shouldn't see, sharks in this food chain, or lions, or jellyfish, or elephants, because those things don't live in our backyards. We are using the evidence from this text to do this activity, okay? So your teacher will let you know how they want you to present their model to them. Be sure you read carefully, take great notes, and ask your teacher if you need any help. All right, I hope you have a great day and have a lot of fun with science and thinking about the food chains that could be in your very own backyard. All right, guys, see you later. Bye.